I made this post a few days ago as just a simple reminder that getting in shape isn't complicated because I don't lift 6 days a week, my workouts aren't 2 hours long, and I don't take a bunch of supplements or follow some extreme diet. Everything that I do to stay lean and jacked is simple, and my goal of this channel is to teach you how to do the same because my first few years in the gym were nothing but overwhelmed from the massive amount of information and contradictions. And I know you guys can relate to exactly what I'm describing because I get comments and messages from you every single day. So after making that post, someone replied and asked, "What is the fitness industry trying to feed us?"
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, bro. When it comes to the whole working out, fitness, there's a lot of information, bro. Especially when you're starting out, bro. Once you dive deep down into that rabbit hole, there's a lot of information, boy. There's a lot of actually misinformation. Let me tell you that. First things first, fitness influencers you're looking up to, they're not honest with you. They're not telling you exactly what they're taking, and you're so clueless. You will believe whatever you hear, whatever you see, because you're a newbie, you don't know better, right? So all these guys, they could be taking like all these steroids or whatnot, and they'll be telling you it's protein, bro. That's all they're taking. They could tell you like they're taking just supplements, bro, and they're just eating that broccoli, chicken, and rice, and you'll believe them. You'll think that's exactly what it takes. Meanwhile, they're on a whole lot of compounds, way more than a scientist ever has in his lab. Let me just tell you that.
I told them the truth. Complexity, artificial supplements that are actually harmful to your health and bad for you and that you don't need, gimmicks, trends, and the idea that you have to live in the gym or buy what they're selling to make progress. You guys have to understand the fitness industry literally makes billions every year, and it keeps growing because people keep searching for shortcuts. And the more confused you are, the more you buy. People want to believe it's complicated because that makes their excuses valid. But the reality is it's simple. It's always been simple. So the goal of this video is to show you the handful of things that actually matter to getting you jacked, things that only take a few hours a week and can put you in the best shape of your life. We're going to start with how many times a week you should be lifting. For 99% of people, 3 to 4 days is all you need, and 4 is probably better in the beginning since you'll get more practice overall, but as you advance in your lifting journey, doing less but with more intensity is probably the best bet. It's more
And I gotta emphasize that too, bro. You need less because you gotta realize that your body needs time to recover. A lot of people, they spend like 6 days, 7 days a week at the gym, bro. Are you mad, bro? Are you crazy? Your body actually grows when you're recovering. So if you're not resting and you're just beating your body to pulp, you're not even gonna grow. Let me just tell you that. And I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions. People think the more time they spend, the bigger they're gonna get, the more gains they're gonna get, the more progress they're gonna get. That is not true, boy.
Most people don't need more workouts, they need better workouts, more intense workouts. When you train 3 or 4 days a week, you recover enough to actually get stronger from session to session. And getting stronger in a moderate rep range is why you build most muscle. It's not the pump, it's not some pyramid bicep workout, it's definitely not a shock the muscle routine you found on TikTok, and it's not a 2-hour long arm day. It's looking at your incline dumbbell press and seeing that you started with 45 pounds for 7 reps in each hand, and now a year later you're pressing 80s for 10 reps. And I want to repeat this point. Getting stronger in a moderate rep range is why you build most muscle. And this reminds me of when I was in the beginning stages of lifting. I would do something called 21s with a training partner, and we would start with 7 reps of barbell curls, and then we would literally pass it back and forth until we reached 21 reps, and then keep repeating until we couldn't move our arms. And now I look back and kind of just shake my head. Yes, it built some muscle, like maybe, but really all it did was give me a pump. And what I'm trying to get at is you don't need these fancy tricks or tactics like 21s that sound cool. We would have been better off just starting with 2 to 3 sets of 6 reps for the barbell curls, and then adding a repetition each week, and then eventually adding weight when we reach the top end of that rep range. And this is what I want you guys to understand. If your lifts aren't going up, your physique isn't changing. It's that simple. This is why I push 3 to 4 days so consistently. It allows a normal person to get stronger week after week because if you think about it, you work a job, your sleep is probably okay, but it's not perfect. You're stressed most days. You're not hitting your macros or calories exactly like you should. You're not drinking enough water. Trying to train 6 days a week on top of all that is just going to burn you out because the other important things are so out of alignment. That's why they end up stalling, they get injured, or they eventually quit. 3 to 4 days fixes all of that because you recover, you progress, you stay consistent, you actually build strength week after week, and your physique changes because the training is finally working. And remember, most of you guys are just training to look good in normal clothes or at the beach and be strong and healthy for life. So, in my opinion, 3 to 4 days a week is the most sustainable and will still get you 99% of your gains.
Yeah, he's right though, right? A lot of you guys, if you're training to just look good, have that nice beach summer body, whatever, trying to impress the girls or whatnot, you don't really need to be going 6 days a week. Even 5, you don't really need to go to 5. 4 should be enough. It's those who are bodybuilders, bro. Do not copy the bodybuilders if you're not trying to like be a bodybuilder yourself, right? If you're not trying to like compete and all that, what are you doing? There's no need for you to go extra mile like that. Also, one thing to keep in mind is these guys that are training 6 days a week, your favorite bodybuilders or whatnot, or influencer, whoever you're following, they can train these many days at a crazy intensity like this because they are on gear, bro. And you gotta realize, right? They're able to recover way faster than your ass. You're natural, bro. You got them natty gains. You ain't recovering way faster like them. That's why they can train 2 sessions a day, 3 sessions a day if they want to, because their ability to recover is way different compared to you because they are on some shit, right? Bit a buck. I'm telling you the truth. They're not gonna tell you this. They will never. Ask your favorite influencer if he's on shit. If he's pinning his ass with a needle, ask him. He's not gonna tell you. He's gonna tell you he's just drinking protein, bro, taking creatine, that's it. And eating his veggie and chicken and broccoli. That's it. That's what he's gonna tell you. But I'm keeping it a buck.
Next, we're going to talk about walking 10K steps a day. And I'm not going to spend a ton of time on this one, but walking handles more than people realize. It keeps you lean, it helps with digestion, it reduces overall stress, and it's going to improve your recovery. Because it's low effort, it's low fatigue, and once again, if it's done consistently, this is going to keep you lean without having to do complex cardio.
Walking, bro, I will advise for you guys who are lazy as hell. You guys don't want to do stairmasters. You don't want to do cardio. You don't want to run around. You're just lazy as hell. And if you're overweight, I would recommend, the first step is start by walking. But get them steps in. It's actually going to help you by burning calories, But that should be the starting step, right? Starting stone. Make sure you're actually getting them steps in. But over time, if you want something more challenging, something that's going to burn calories at a faster rate, I would suggest actually the Stairmaster, bro. Stairmaster is where it's at. If you want to lose weight right now, go to the Stairmaster. Start off 10 minutes. That's it. And then once you get good, increase the speed or the level, whatnot, and increase the duration, right? You're on it for it.
And the next thing is going to be eating a real food diet. And for you guys that continue to watch my content, you're going to know that I talk about 3 to 4 day a week training and a real food diet. Like, I get so repetitive, but understand if you stick to whole foods, so meat, eggs, fruit, honey, potatoes, rice, maybe some vegetables, you automatically control your calories without tracking obsessively. Like, I'm seeing all these people using this like AI app. Like, I honestly shouldn't even shout it out on the channel because it's so much BS. But they literally email me every single week trying to get me to sponsor it. And it's like, you don't need an app when you're eating whole foods. Like, if you're really trying to dial in and get like super lean, or, you have these like really concrete goals, yeah, it might be beneficial to track. But for the most part, when you control your calories with whole foods, you just automatically get lean. And I'm not saying you can't overeat on whole foods, but most people will be satiated after 3 to 4 whole food meals.
I'll also advise that people that should be counting their calories or their nutrients or whatnot are the ones, like, if you know your body gains weight really fast, bro, then it's best for you to be tracking everything, right? But if you are like an ectomorph, there's no need, bro. Just because you're skinny to begin off, right? And it's hard for you to put on weight. So there is no point to be tracking at the beginning, right? Eat whatever you can, just not the junk food. Obviously, it's gonna be a whole meal, healthy as well. Get your proteins in, get your carbs, your healthy fats, and all that. There's no need to be tracking at the beginning. You're skinny as it is, right? But if you have the body where it's like, and it's really hard for you to lose weight, but it's easy to put on weight, then yeah, you really need to be on top of your shit. You really need to be counting, bro. You need to be walking with a notepad and a pen and paper. You need to be on it, bro. Even if you're eating out, bro, make sure you're calculating, make sure you're seeing, make sure you're saving, make sure you're tracking at all times. But if it's hard for you to put on weight, there's no need for you to be doing it. Unless you want to hold yourself accountable, because it also helps if you're having a hard time putting down meals, right? Like, let's say a lot of people don't have appetite, so they tend to avoid meals, or they just skip meals or whatnot, right? It's hard for them to eat. So also, like, tracking it down can help you add those additional calories, because like, yo, I I need 2,000 more calories for the day. God damn, how am I gonna get this? Let me go make a shake. Let me go do this. Let me go get this. You know, it's also gonna help you stay on top of your shit.
And you avoid the constant hunger that's going to come from processed food. And I actually just made a full day of eating video breaking down, exactly what a whole food diet looks like and, what I consume. So I'll link that on the screen somewhere now if you want to see exactly what I eat in a day. So far we've talked about lifting, walking, and then eating real whole foods. Next is going to be getting sunlight. And I would almost guarantee that 80% of you right now are like, what does sunlight have to do with getting jacked or getting in shape? Sunlight is basically your body's start button. So if you're in tune with the research, when you get morning sunlight in your eyes, it tells your brain to turn on your energy, your focus, and basically your muscle building hormones.
Hey, yo, I got a question for you, my boy. What if you're living in a country where it's gloomy, bro? There's no sun. The sun is only there maybe for 2 days out of the year, or maybe even like a week out of the year, bro. What are you gonna do, bro? You're gonna fly to a different country just for the sun, bro? Not all of us can afford the sun now, right? What about winter? Those winter months, those depressing ass months. You think you'll be able to find the sun out there? Good luck.
It's also going to set up your sleep clock so you can actually recover at night, because that's when muscle growth happens. Because most people stare at a screen, they rush to work, they sit inside under artificial lights all day, and they never actually see the sun. So their body never gets the signal to fully wake up, their energy stays low, their mood stays flat, and their sleep is going to get worse. And I can promise you guys, if you are trying to build muscle, that is going to kill your progress. And I really encourage you guys to do more research on vitamin D, maybe even get your vitamin D levels checked, and just the importance of getting daily sunlight, because it really does matter for your mood, for recovery, and then your testosterone. And how much sunlight you're going to need daily is obviously going to vary from person to person, but this is truly a super simple thing that could be why your testosterone is low and you're not making the best gains. And the next thing we're going to talk about is sleeping 7 to 9 hours. And this should be common sense, but common sense isn't always common practice. Look at it like this. If your sleep is bad, everything else suffers. Strength, testosterone, fat loss, recovery, all of it. Good sleep is one of the most powerful performance enhancers you can give yourself, and it's free. So what I do each night is I set my thermostat down to a cooler temp. Mine is normally around 66 degrees. Use blackout curtains and try to avoid your phone or any blue light a few hours before bed. I also take a magnesium glycinate supplement before bed for deeper sleep, so you can research that as well as vitamin D.
Yeah, yo, let me keep it a buck too. Sleep is actually one of the most important thing out there, right? A lot of you guys are not getting enough. None of you guys are getting 7 hours. Forget about 9 hours you mentioned. 7 hours, you're not even getting it. 6 hours, some of you maybe. Some of you guys are just averaging 4 to 5 hours. And I'm guilty of that. I don't get enough, right? But it's one of those things which is so important, and a lot of people neglect it. And because the thing is, like, once you're not getting enough sleep, it affects a lot of things. It also affects not only your brain capacity, also your body. A lot of you guys are getting acne and shit. Your mood is off. Everything is off once you don't get enough sleep. That's why it's so important. If you can, try to get at least 8 hours, but you can still function with 6 to 7. But once you go below 6, below 5, you're cooked, you're done. A lot of you guys I know are like that, especially the guys that are doing night shift. Your sleep is all screwed out, bro. Sleeping during the day, up all night. Yeah, man, I don't know, fix that shit.
And next, we're going to talk about hydration. So being even a little dehydrated ruins your strength, your pump, and your energy. And most guys walk around tired for no reason other than they barely drink any water. Once again, common sense isn't common practice. And an easy way to get a rough number of how much water you need in a day is to take your body weight and just cut it in half. That's going to give you the correct amount of ounces. Then you can go to Amazon or wherever and just buy yourself a dedicated stainless steel water bottle and just get as big of one as possible so you have to fill it up less times, and then actually track it each day.
When it comes to hydration, I suck at it too. I try my best, all right, but it doesn't always work out. Don't drink enough water. The average should be at least 4 liters, bro, a day. But yeah, I'm still working, all right. It's a work in progress. I'm still working on it. But yeah, no water, because like your body's majority of it is made of water, anyways, right? So you're gonna make sure you're always drinking water throughout the day, no matter what, right? Stay away from all those sugary drinks, bro. Them pops. I know a lot of you drink coffees. Reduce the amount of shit you drink, all these sweets, reduce that shit. But yeah, water is like the key. That's like number one.
you might actually find this whole time that you were simply dehydrated and that's why your workouts were suffering. So it wasn't your program, it wasn't your diet, it wasn't anything other than you weren't drinking enough water. That's why I tell you guys so frequently to track. And I'm gonna be honest, this one is the most boring and it's the most overused, but it's the most important. It's be consistent. And I really, really want you guys to understand this. You can do all the things I just laid out, but if you only last 2 weeks, nothing's gonna happen. You must be consistent for months and then even years. So I want you to lift, walk each day, eat real food, get sunlight, sleep, hydrate, and repeat. It works. It's always worked, and people only miss it because they're too busy looking for something more complicated.
Overall, it is consistency. You gotta just be consistent with everything, right? You cannot just do one thing and neglect the others, right? You cannot just be training hard throughout the week and you're not eating properly. You're always going to McDonald's, bro. You're getting them quarter pounders, bro. You're eating them greasy ass foods, bro. Or you're working out hard, you're eating good, but you're not sleeping, bro. You're up all night, up all day, or drinking enough water, bro. You're drinking so much sweets, bro. You're drinking them pops, you're drinking them coffees, them. This is another big one I found. I realized a lot of people, they drink a lot of energy drink, bro. Those Monsters, those Red Bulls, bro. Stay away from them if you can, or don't even drink a full can, bro. Maybe drink a quarter can a day or something. I don't know, or every other day or every 3 days. I don't know, bro. Like, you gotta reduce that shit, because it's gonna F you up, if you know what I mean, right? So anyways, yeah. What he said is facts. I would actually listen to what he said here. His points are valid, and I will testify to that. It's not that hard. Start off small, and over time, you can add on to it, right? You don't need all these extra training programs, all these fancy stuff. Just start with the basics, do a repetition of that, and if you feel like you're getting good at it, start increasing the weight slowly, right? Focus on your proper techniques, focus also on your breathing, focus on the squeeze, and yeah, basically that's it. It's actually as simple as it is. But anyways, let me know what you think. Comment down below, how many days a week are you training, and are you consistent? And yeah, like, subscribe, and I'm gonna catch you in the next one. Peace.